Toastmasters. Fellow Toastmasters, and especially those who are joining us from online. Good evening, Samuel Njoroge, all the way from Congo, DRC. Good evening, Table Topic Master Sarah, all the way from Mombasa, and every one of you who's joining us on call today, and the many more who have joined us in the physical meeting, despite the rain, which is a blessing, actually. We want to welcome you to Kwanza Kenya Toastmasters meeting number 972. We are really looking forward to a very hellacious meeting today. Despite the weather, we are truly going to have fun. Before we get started, my name is Pascalia Maingi. I am the club president of Kwanza Kenya Toastmasters, and on behalf of my fellow EXCO team, I'd like to extend a very warm welcome despite the fact that outside is very cold, warm welcome to each and every one of us today. I'd like to give a very special welcome to the guests who are joining us for the very first time. Thank you very much for joining us. Eric Obwako, we are honored to have you join us today. Kamau Kimenju, thank you for coming. And Goreti Okot. We are also very excited to have a visiting Toastmaster, Tigis Heilu, all the way from Blue Nile Toastmasters in Ethiopia. Thank you very much for joining us. Unfortunately, I'm not able to see the visiting guests online. Kindly put it on chat and let us know if you're visiting us for the very first time so that we can give you a warm Kwanza Kenya welcome. Now, for most of us, maybe for those who are joining us for the first time, probably you're wondering, what is this all about Toastmasters? Well, Toastmasters, first of all, is celebrating 100 years of existence worldwide. And this is a very ostentatious leadership and communication organization that helps people globally to develop their communication skills, their public speaking skills, as well as their leadership skills. Toastmasters, which is where you are today, we offer that very conducive environment, which helps you as our members, as well as our visiting guests, to be able to, to be able to grow in your self-confidence, to be able to overcome that fear of public speaking, which is what most people come to Toastmasters for. And above all, to be able to make you the kind of person that you've always wanted to be. As we get into the meeting right now, want you to know that we are guided by 4 key values, and these are respect, integrity, service, and excellence. Now, these core values are values which you use not only in Toastmasters, but out there in the marketplace. At the end of this meeting, I will welcome you, our guests, and those who are online as well, to join us so that we can be able to give you more details about how you can be able to join us and become a member of Kwanza Kenya Toastmasters, which is where leaders are made. At this juncture, I'd like to welcome our Sergeant at Arms, who's going to take us through the meeting etiquette. As he comes here, let's give him a round of applause.
Thank you so much, Madam President. Thank you, fellow Kwanzanites, visiting Toastmasters, and our guests. My name is Fidel Owiti, and I am the de facto Sergeant at Arms of this club. And my role this evening is simple. My first role is to spell out the meeting protocols. And this being a hybrid meeting, I urge those following online to mute their microphones when not speaking to avoid interrupting other speakers for the program of this meeting. Secondly, I urge, I'm seeing them here, those following online again to put their cameras on so that we can have an interactive meeting. Thirdly, I'm coming to those in the physical meeting room. Please put your gadgets on mute, or better yet, you can switch them off to enjoy this meeting. Finally, in Toastmasters, one thing we do is that we learn in an environment of enjoyment. So the fourth and final rule is that enjoy yourselves, have fun, and I don't want to be ostentatious, but this is going to be one of the best meetings by far. Thank you, Madam President.
Thank you very much. Let's give him a round of applause, please. Unfortunately, our secretary is not yet around, but we're going to postpone this session, which is a session of confirming our last minutes for the last minutes meeting. We're going to postpone it towards the end of this meeting. But right now, I would like for us to sit back and just relax and wait for the next segment, which you're about to segue into. Now, this next segment is one of a kind. And it is a segment that makes a Toastmasters regular meeting what it is supposed to be. Now, this segment is going to be led by somebody whom we refer to as the Toastmaster of the day, or in other words, the master of ceremony. Today, ladies and gentlemen, under the ostentatious guidance of our Toastmaster of the day, whom I am just about to introduce, I request each and every one of you to just sit back and have a ball. Now, who is this Toastmaster of the day that we have in the house today? Our Toastmaster of the day is a member of Blue Nile Toastmasters Club in Ethiopia. She came all the way from Ethiopia to come and be with us. And in Ethiopia, they have just celebrated their 65th anniversary this month. Kwanza, Kenya, we thought at 42 we were old. Now these ones are much older than we are. So she comes with a lot of experience. The Toastmaster of the day comes from the second generation of Toastmasters. That means her parents were the first generation of Toastmasters in Ethiopia. Now that should go a long way to show you who we are as Toastmasters. She calls Kenya her second home. And she actually said she knows more Kiswahili than most of us who call ourselves Kenyans. So ladies and gentlemen, without much ado, let's put our hands together as I welcome our Toastmaster of the day, who happens to be Tigis Hager. Let's give her a round of applause, please.
Okay, Madam President, thank you for that kind introduction. Madam President, fellow Toastmasters and guests, good evening. Habari za jioni. Yeah, it's a wonderful privilege and honor for me to be your Toastmaster of the evening, and being referred to as half Kenyan is something I wear very proudly. I consider Kenya my second home. I visit frequently. And I think I'd be ostentatious if I insist that I know more Swahili than most of you, but I know enough to navigate through Nairobi. Thank you so much. At this point, I want to add my voice to Madam President to welcome all members, visiting Toastmasters and guests to the 972nd meeting of the Kwanza, Kenya Toastmasters Club meeting. We convene every second and fourth Tuesday, physically in this location, as well as in hybrid format. I had wished to bring a friend to this meeting today, a very good friend of mine called Dickens. He is, I see another very good friend as well. He is Kenyan, normally based in Nairobi, but has recently moved to London. But he was visiting Nairobi last week, and he's someone I had always been trying to get him interested in Toastmasters, and I thought this was a wonderful opportunity. So I asked him to come and join us at this meeting. And then he asked me, what day is it? I told him Tuesday evening, and then he asked me, what's the name of the club? And in my rush and enthusiasm, I told him the Kenya Kwanza Toastmasters Club. So we were texting, and then he responded with an emoji that shows a bit of bewilderment and also amusement. And he wrote me, wewe kula pesa ya serikali. Of course, I had no idea what it meant, but I rushed to Google, then understood what happened, and I quickly corrected. the name of the club. It's a great pleasure for me to be with you. Also, Dickens couldn't join us; he had to travel back, but I'm sure he will visit one day. From the agenda laid out before you, I'm sure you can see we have quite a treat this evening, and I'm so eager to guide us to dive right in. But before I do that, I have a few tasks. I'll start by taking you through the agenda. Then I'll also introduce the team of the evening, and as well as my wonderful tag team who will help me manage this meeting. As a matter of norm, every Toastmasters meeting has 3 main sessions. And the first session is where we get to hear prepared speeches from members based on their chosen learning path and stages. The second session is called Table Topics, where members and guests alike get to practice their impromptu or unprepared speaking skills. And the last session, which is perhaps the most important, when we make our learning in Toastmasters deliberate, is the evaluation session. During the evaluation session, we'll get to hear feedback on the delivery of the prepared speeches, as well as the general conduct of the meeting. And as you can see from the agenda in front of you, today's meeting follows the same format. So we'll get to enjoy all these 3 sessions and more. Apart from the agenda, I'm sure all of you can see this form in front of you. I know members are quite familiar with it, but at the end of these 3 main sessions I mentioned, we'll get to do a voting. We'll be voting for the best speaker, the best table topics master speaker, as well as evaluator. And then from the form, you'll see that there is the appropriate parts of the form that say ballot. So you tear the appropriate part when you get a cue from me at the end of each session, and then put in whom you thought performed well, and then pass it around to the SA, Fidel. But the top part of the form is where you also get to give encouraging, constructive feedback on the performance of the different role players. We have speakers, the table topic master, the general evaluator, and the Toastmaster of the meeting. Every Toastmasters meeting has a set theme, and I believe today we have chosen for you a very exciting, energizing theme, and the chosen theme is, what is your superpower? And before I say anything more about the theme, I wanted to ask a question. I imagine myself pacing around the room, but no, I can't do that. So I'll ask from here, what comes to your mind when you hear the word superpower? Any? Sorry? Energy, okay. Anyone else? USA, wow, that's interesting. Batman, voila. So me and Elishiba are kindred spirits. Whenever I hear the word superpower, it conjures up an image of these fictional superheroes that we've been exposed to through comic books or movies. You know, those who have extraordinary abilities like superhuman strength or an ability to manipulate time and space. But today we won't deal with those fictional heroes, but rather look within ourselves to explore our own unique strengths, what makes us truly remarkable. And I'm sure you agree with me, within each one of us lie metaphorical superpowers, be it character traits, our different giftings, skills, and talents that give us a distinct advantage in life's journey. And why do we call them superpower? We call them superpower because they're incredibly effective. They help us navigate life with a certain type of unique edge. So from endurance in competitive sports to an enchanting charm, a good sense of humor, or compassion for others, or even rare acts of brevity, creativity, artistic expression, superpowers come in many different shapes and forms. What's also very interesting about our superpowers is that they often manifest in very subtle ways, but impactful ways in our everyday lives. This could be when somebody lends us a listening ear when we really need it, or somebody shares a warm smile, or lends a helping hand when needed. So within this spirit, tonight's theme is an invitation to all of us to uncover and celebrate these hidden superpowers that lie within. So what is your superpower? In the brief time we have together, I would like to share with you what I think are only three, although they can be infinite human superpowers we can talk about. I picked three of what I thought were exceptional, so human superpowers, also that resonate with all of us in the room. And I want to share the first one with you right away. Any guesses? Okay, beautiful. Who else? Telepathy, all right. Good guesses, but I think you're close. It's the superpower of imagination. And imagination is indeed a superpower, and it's an invaluable gift given to humans. It enables us to go beyond the limitations of our current reality. It fuels our curiosity. It leads us to explore, create, and innovate. It is a key ingredient behind every art, human invention, and also problem solving. Have you ever considered that everything you see around you, which is of course invented by humans, was created twice? Think about it. Be it the awe-inspiring Taj Mahal in India, the majestic pyramids of Egypt, the spacecraft that landed on the moon, airplanes that we often use, this building we're sitting in, the smartphones we're holding. Each of these wonderful human inventions first took shape in somebody's imagination. So every precise detail about each one of them was envisioned before it was brought to life. That's how powerful imagination is. For me, imagination has been key to all of my growth. It's what empowered me to chart my own career and life path. And I can tell you a small story quickly. I studied political science and international relations. And when I graduated, the job market didn't know what to do with people of my academic background. And I started out as a kindergarten teacher, which is a very noble profession, which I'd come to love. But it took a lot of imagination to steer my career back to my academic, something aligned to what I had studied. Imagination has also given me an insatiable thirst and curiosity about this world. It drives me to travel, to be exposed, to ask questions, to get as much knowledge that this world can offer. How many of us can relate to being empowered by this superpower in our lives? None? Everyone? I see everyone. Yeah. So that's the first superpower I've already shared. I have two more, and I will share with them as the meeting progresses. But now I want to quickly shift gears and invite our wonderful role takers to introduce their roles. And given the packed agenda, I encourage them to be very concise. I'll first invite our Hark Master for the evening, Toastmaster Stephen Musila. Is he in the room? Okay. So yeah, I think that the traffic today has challenged most role takers to be here with us on time. So Stephen is not yet in the room, but Candy Musila will take over this role, and I invite her to introduce her. Oh, you need to come here. I invite Candy to come and explain her role.
The role of a Hack Master is to listen to every discussion that is happening in this meeting, and thereafter, I will pose questions to you to test your listening skills. Remember, we have 2 ears and 1 mouth to listen more and talk less. So pay attention and listen keenly to each and every person who speaks. Back to you, Tim.
Next up is our grammarian for the evening, which was supposed to be DTM Angela Pereira, but somebody equally capable, Toastmaster Jerry Kagiri, is standing in for her, and I invite Jerry to introduce herself.
Thank you, TMOD. My role as the grammarian today is to help all of us improve our grammar and vocabulary. At this point, I'd like to introduce the word of the day, ostentatious. What does this word mean? It means showy, pretentious, and designed to impress. When we use it in a sentence, an example would be, the pulpit is not the place for ostentatious display of one's skill. Other words that could mean the same as ostentations are conspicuous, obtrusive, showy, and yeah, those three words. I will also be monitoring the use of the English language, how we've used it properly and also how we have used it poorly. At the end of the meeting, I will give a report on what I have noted. Thank you, Madam TMOD.
Thank you very much, Jerry. Next up is our counter, who is Toastmaster Yahya Ibrahim. He has not made it, or he's here. Oh, Michael, TM Michael, yeah. So it's quite a dance dealing with the last minute replacements, but bear with us. Toastmaster Michael, you're welcome.
My name is Michael. I'm the counter this evening. The purpose of this role is to note overuse of filler words, sounds such as long pauses. I'll give a report at the end of the day, but also give a small tap at the glass for the speakers who will be speaking throughout the meeting. Thank you.
Thank you, Toastmaster Michael. Our timer for this evening is Toastmaster Susan Mutile. Commenting on the theme of the evening, Toastmaster Susan told me she thinks the most underrated human superpower is empathy. And, you know, she says we needed to embrace each other more. It fosters understanding, compassion, and simply makes the world a better place. I couldn't agree more. Toastmaster Susan, you're welcome.
Toastmaster of the day, fellow Toastmaster. My role today as the timer will be to time each section of the meeting, be it the prepared speeches, evaluation session, or the table topic speakers. I will also alert the different speakers of the remaining time so that they can prepare and conclude their speeches within the stipulated timeline. And I will be guided by these different color codes. For the prepared speeches that take about 5 to 7 minutes, I will show the green at 5 minutes. I show the yellow at 6 minutes, and I'll show the red at 7 minutes. For the evaluation session that takes about 2 to 3 minutes, I will show green at 2 minutes. I will show yellow at 2.30 and red at 3 minutes. For the table topics speeches, which take about 2 minutes, I will show green at 1 minute, yellow at 1.0, and red at 2 minutes. And with that, I'm ready to keep the time for the meeting.
Thank you, Toastmaster Susan. And our last role taker is Toastmaster Joy Morogi. Is she in the room?
Yes, I'm online.
Online. Okay, perfect.
Yes,
okay.
thank you.
Toastmaster Joy Morogi is joining us online. And before I introduce her, I request her to introduce her role. I'd like to share with you her comments on the evening's theme. Toastmaster Joy told me the one superpower she would wish to have is being able to sleep at 9 p.m. and wake up at 4 a.m. every day. I'm a reluctant nocturnal, and I totally related with this wish. So most welcome to introduce your role. Can you hear us?
Greetings. Yes, I can hear you. Greetings, Madam Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters and guests. The purpose of the general evaluator is to evaluate everything and
We're
nothing that
struggling
takes
to
place
hear
throughout this
you. Is there
meeting.
anything you can do about your volume?
Can you hear me now? Am I more audible? Sorry, am I more audible now?
See, just give us.
Let me switch. And now, what now? What about
Slightly
now?
better. You can hear? Okay, okay.
Can you
Please
hear me?
proceed. Yeah.
Oh, sorry for that. So, Madam Toastmaster and fellow Toastmasters and guests, the purpose of General Evaluator is to evaluate everything that will take place during the meeting. I will take notes on everything that happens and doesn't happen. I will evaluate each participant on the meeting program and look for examples of preparation, organization, delivery, enthusiasm, observation, and performance of duty. At the end of the meeting, I will give my report. Thank you, Madam Toastmaster.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Joy. We strained a bit to hear you. I hope the volume will be fixed by the time you're back to deliver the report. With that, I think we have concluded the introduction of our role takers. Can we all give a round of applause to our role takers? Perfect. I think now we are ready to dive right into the feast that we have for you as promised. It's time for us to listen to the prepared speeches. And today we have two amazing speakers. We also have our word of the day, ostentatious, which I want to encourage everybody, including the speakers, to use. In my own view, ostentatious behaviors and superpowers do not go well together. I think authenticity is what normally fuels our superpowers. With that, we'll jump right into the prepared speeches session. Our first speaker of this evening will be Toastmaster Vivian Ayuma. And Toastmaster Vivian also commented on our evening's theme, and she told me the superpower she'd love to have is time to travel. She'd like to go back to her past and fix a few things. She'd also like to peek into the future. To evaluate Toastmaster Vivian's speech, we have DTM Jafet Musau. I invite DTM Jafet to speak to the speech objectives and introduce our first speaker.
Thank you, Madam Toastmaster. It's my pleasure to introduce our speaker today, Vivian Ayuma. She is delivering a level 1 project 2 titled Presentation Mastery is a Path. And the project is writing a speech with a purpose. There are two objectives of this project. Number 1, to learn and review basic methods of writing a speech with a defined purpose. And 2, to present a speech on any topic. And therefore, it's my pleasure to introduce Vivian Ayuma. Stay hopeful, Vivian Ayuma.
We can't hear your baby's heartbeat. Those 6 words were the hardest words in a sentence that I had ever had to grapple with in my entire life. I had been in a long, protracted, arduous labor for the last 30 hours on that day. And my firstborn baby had decided she was in no hurry to make her debut into this world. Has any one of you been through labor? Or at least supported someone going through labor? Or even watched a movie about somebody about to have a baby? You know that this is a very unpredictable and usually time-consuming and sometimes excruciatingly painful process. The labor ward indeed is not a place for anyone to be ostentatious. It can humble even the most courageous of souls, as it was humbling me 8 years ago. You see, about 6 hours before I got what seemed to be this life sentence, the nurse had come into my room and given me an intervention that she said would help to speed up the process. And from the moment the drop of medication fell from the catheter to my veins, the only thing I was certain she was speeding up was the pain. But I endured. I endured because I knew at the end of all the struggle, I would have my baby. So you can imagine when I got the news that there is no heartbeat, I was devastated. I was devastated. And what do you do in the face of bad news such as this? And there are many to go about. A lot of bad news coming about. What if your prognosis is you've got cancer? What if the prognosis is we can't find your baby's heartbeat? It's easy to feel a sense of powerlessness, but the best thing to do in these moments is to keep hope alive. Hope is a funny thing to define. One of those intangible assets that you only know when you feel it. To put it into words is quite difficult because some may say it's an optimistic, over-optimistic sense of positivity, and others may even say it's an unrealistic feeling. Why hope? Best to see the glass as half empty. But in the midst of bad news, and I know many of us have been losing something, it starts from our childhood when we are competing in games or in the arts or in sports. What do you do when you have a chance to lose it all? You risk losing it all. As I said, it's keeping the hope alive. And one of the ways to do this is by, number one, not panicking. Once you panic, you become powerless. You immobilize any sense of yourself from taking any positive action. So the first step would be not to panic, which is what I tried not to do, panic. So you can imagine with all the pain I was feeling and with that news, I wanted to just give up. And the second step would be focusing on what you can control, taking a deep breath, for example. It could be something so simple but positive to get you out of your status, get you out of wherever moment it is you're stuck in that is making you feel powerless. So taking a deep breath, for example, focusing on what you can control will switch you back into having a sense of hope and positivity to change whichever circumstance that you are in. And thirdly is, I am very spiritual in prayer. Knowing that there's a superpower greater and bigger than you that has the chance to change whatever situation you are in for the better. So do not panic, keep your hope up, actions that you can take, and also focus on the powers beyond us that can change the situation for the better. Now you may ask, did I leave out of that hospital room with a healthy baby? Yes, I did. My 8-year-old is a rambunctious child as they come, complete with scars and scrapes to show. Just the other month, she came back from in her sitting down. The teacher keeps complaining she's one of those students who just can't keep quiet in class. So what would have happened if I gave up? I probably would have gotten stuck in a loop of negativity, which would have led me perhaps to have negative impacts on the baby who was already struggling, and also on myself, who was at my wit's end. So I'm thankful to say that keeping hope alive is indeed a superpower, especially in the midst of chaos, in the midst of challenges. And I surmise in the words of Desmond Tutu, the hope is keeping your focus on the light. Thank you.
Wasn't that quite a treat? It was. I think if the evening ended at this point, we've already gotten our time. Thank you so much for sharing that beautiful story. a deep story of hope and also a lot of practical advice when we face circumstances that challenge our hope, as we often do, right? And I also believe it takes a lot of generosity to share a deeply personal story like that. I think this is a very good example of someone who's not ostentatious. All right, thank you so much. I think we'll swiftly transition to the second speaker. Our second speaker will be Toastmaster Samuel Njoroge. And I spoke with Toastmaster Samuel backstage on the evening's team, and he told me the superpower that Toastmaster Samuel Njoroge would like to have is super learning, whereby he could just glance at a topic or a formula and instantly become an authority in the field. Wouldn't we all like that? Yeah, to evaluate Toastmaster Samuel's speech, we have Toastmaster Mawia Gichuhi, who's our Vice President of Education. I request Toastmaster Mawia to come to the lectern and speak to the speech objectives as well as introduce our second speaker.
Thank you. Good evening, fellow Toastmasters and guests. Samuel Njoroge will be delivering his Understanding Your Leadership Style. This is the first project in your level 2. And the purpose of this project is for members to identify his or her primary leadership style or styles. The purpose of this speech is for the member to share some aspects of his or her primary leadership style or discuss leadership styles in general. The member will deliver a well-organized speech about some aspects of leadership style. The member may choose to speak about his or her own leadership style or styles in general and their impacts. The speech may be humorous, informational, or any style the member chooses. The speech will not be a report of the content of Understanding Your Leadership Style project. Samuel Njoroge, no one style fits all. Samuel Njoroge, no one style fits all.
Leaders. I think Toastmaster Samuel is joining us online, and we had trouble hearing the previous role taker who joined us online. So we request Toastmaster Samuel to taste your sound so we can be certain we can hear you clearly. Could you speak to us just to taste the sound?
Can you hear me?
Okay, can you speak again?
Can you hear me now?
Okay,
I can hear him online.
Yes. We can hear you very
it's okay.
well. Please proceed. You're welcome.
Leaders are not born ostentatious, but can be created using some learnable styles. Anyone can become a leader by learning or implementing these styles. Today, I'll dwell on 3 types of leadership by Kat Lewis, namely autocratic, democrat, and delegating. A good leader is able to use a mix of the styles depending on the people or the situation. In autocratic leadership, the team follows a certain laid down process to the letter. Most of the time, to be able to manage some kind of a risk. For autocratic leadership, an example is Steve Jobs of Apple, or even Henry Ford of Ford Motors, who are 2 leaders who are able to use such style, but still manage to move their company to great heights. In this kind of style, there was little or no output from other people in the team. So this style can actually be very good in terms of making decisions very fast, as people don't have a say in what they do. The downside of this style is that it can be very demoralizing and also demotivating. On my side, I found the times I've been able to use this kind of style is when I had a team that had a slow understanding of the process or were not well trained. What would happen is that I would take the team through the process step by step and then be able to follow with the team just to make sure that they are actually going as per the letter. The hope is that the team can be able to train, and in the future, they can be able to take the process for themselves. In a democratic approach, a leader will set goals and then will guide the team in some discussions and after make a final decision. So in this leadership style, the leader appreciates that the team have something essential that they can be able to contribute into the process of this company. What happens therefore is that one gets fresh ideas or even innovation that wouldn't have happened if the person just did or made decisions by themselves. One of the things about this style that I've learned is I've been to different countries, and when you go across the countries, things change. So one thing can mean something very different in one culture as compared to another one. And therefore, it was very, very important for me to be able to involve the locals in other countries I travel, so as to be able to run through the strategy I have and tell me if it rhymed to be executed within that country. So this style can be dangerously slow, especially when you have to listen to the feedback from every person. Therefore, as a good leader, you've got to evaluate and see if it's, even for a brief moment, you can be able to use maybe autocratic to make some of the decisions. An example is one of the founder of Google, Page, who is well known for his openness for ideas. He welcomes ideas from the team and also motivate them. This style of leadership is good for people with very good skills. A leader is as good as his team gets. Moving to the third one is delegating style. On this style, you allow the team to learn their own course with very little interference. An example of this is a former American president, Ronald Reagan, who actually gave most of his powers to the chief of staff and secretaries. For me, for my experience, I believe I need to get involved in decision-making of the company. And therefore, it's always a challenge using this kind of leadership. In my corporate world, I've been able to mix mainly the democratic and autocratic, depending on the scenario and the people involved. So people will adapt different kind of leadership scenario depending on preferences, but not one fits for all the occasion. Some will require very fast decision-making, whereas others will call for a democracy or a decision by all of us. As I conclude, one is likely to be a better leader by mixing different style of leadership. And hence, no one style fits for all. Thank you. TM Mudiobe.
Thank you so much, Master Samuel, for that very rich and questionable speech. I believe in the world today, the quality that is most needed and lacking is good leadership. And you have given us a lot of food for thought with actual anecdotal examples. Thank you for that. I think it's time for us to do the first bit of voting for the best speaker. We've heard two wonderful speeches. So this is the voting form. I believe everybody has it. Okay. There's one person missing a form there. So for those of us who have the form on hand, we basically go to the appropriate section that says ballot best speaker, and then put down our choices and share it with the SAA. And I think those who are online also have a means to vote. The SAA is working on that, right? Okay. And ordinarily at this point, we were supposed to have a 5-minute break, and we're slightly behind time, but because we need to stretch our feet, maybe some of us want to go to the washroom, refresh, we take 2 minutes break. On my watch, it's 7:24, we can take 7:25, and then we'll promptly get back at 7:27 to proceed to the next set of sessions. Thank you, everyone. We'll reconvene shortly. Yeah. Okay, calling the meeting back to order. The 2 minutes are up. So welcome back, everyone. We have another treat for you now in the form of a tip session, and our proverbial embodiment of superwoman will take us through TM Kendi Wabila, who is doubling up as our tip session. Oh, the Heart Master is in the but TM Kendi will speak to us on an AI tool that is trending quite a bit now called Udly and how we can utilize it in our journey. Commenting on the theme of the evening, TM Kendi thinks the most underrated human superpower is adaptability. She thinks it's the most critical superpower that we could have, as it allows us to thrive despite all kinds of obstacles, be it work challenges or personal setbacks. Toastmaster Kendi, you're welcome to the lecture. Please take us to the session.
Can you smile for me? It's been a beautiful day, hasn't it? Can I see your tip? Okay. I'll be something. It's absolutely nothing. What normally happens when someone comes and tells you there's a spinach on your teeth, or there's a piece of, we're eating beans for lunch, yes? Yeah, there's a bean on your teeth. You feel a bit awkward, don't you? A bit, I've been speaking to everyone and no one told me that I have spinach on my teeth. Instead of feeling awkward, especially when it comes to your public speaking, someone telling you that your baby is ugly, the speech you delivered was not all that as you thought it was. There's something that has been improvised that will make it a bit palatable to correct the places that you have erred. This is your smart mirror, an AI tool. And if you don't know what AI is, you have been sleeping under a rock. AI stands for artificial intelligence. The AI tool that has been introduced by Toastmasters, Udly. Allow me to share my screen so that you get to see what I'm talking about. If you are in Toastmasters and you have signed up for Pathways, this is how you access Udly. The minute you log into your main page, this is what you see. Where can we take you today, Kendi? You scroll down. Faster Education and Achievements, Leadership Central, and you can see it to your extreme right, which is your left when you're looking at me. Udly is right here. Analyzing, you just analyze your speeches with this AI tool. So let me click on it and then you get to see what is this Udly and how does it help you when it comes to your speech delivery? Has anyone ever tried delivering their speech in front of a person in your house? None of you, really? How did it feel? It felt great. You didn't feel awkward? These are your people. Is there anyone who felt awkward? Okay, at least I'm not the only one. I happen to have married a Toastmaster. So it gets a bit awkward when I have to stand there and deliver my speech. It's like, no, Kendi, you sound like you're reciting it. Can you just speak? Have a conversation. Let me tell you, thank God they introduced Udly because now I can do this by myself. You can see on the interface, Udly practice home library exercises on your left. So what normally happens when you click on practice? It was presentation or table topics. How many of you are scared of table topics? I like how honest you are. Your hand went up instantly. You do not have to be afraid of playing around with different topics that are thrown at you at the spur of the moment. With Udly, you can actually click on practicing table topics. You can give it access to your video and microphone. I hope it will accept now. Okay. Allow this time. And what happens thereafter is that this tool will give you a random speech title. And okay, it's not, I'll continue without camera. And it will time you. Table topics normally takes 1 minute to 2 minutes at most, yes? So it times you, and then guess what? It gives you instant feedback. Yudli needs to access your camera and microphone. Can I turn off, for the sake of the ones who are online, you will excuse me. I will turn off the video on Zoom to be able to do this effectively. Oh, there we go. Let's try that again. Okay. And there you have your first question. What's better, Android or iPhone? The moment you click start,
what's better, Android or iPhone?
Just in case you're not able to read, if there's a blind person who was playing with this AI tool trying to practice, then at least you're able to hear if you can't be able to see. So you speak for that minute or two, and when you click done, it gives you an analysis of your speech. What did you do good? How was your delivery? Did you have the ahs and the ums? How many were they? Did you use weak words when presenting? Or was your speech as fluid or as seamless as it could be? So whenever you use this AI tool to practice your table topics, you really harness that skill of standing and speaking at the spur of the moment. But it even gets better when it comes to your presentation. If you have that speech that you're not sure how it sounds, you're not sure of the flow, you're not sure of the structure, I will give you an example of a speech that I delivered. And I will not play it for you because it will take 7 minutes. A speech takes 6 to 7 minutes, 5 to 7 minutes. So I will not play for you, but I'll go to home, I'll click the library, sorry, and it will show you all the speeches that I have recorded. And they are quite a number. As you can see, it goes to page 2. You can record it as many times as you want, and it will give you real-time feedback. So let me click on one. If you were here in January, I delivered a speech, and the speech that you see at the very beginning is what I was practicing on. So looking at this speech that is right here, what were the analytics that were shared? I had 1% filler, one filler, which was okay. That's the word choice. It's looking at the coaching element of it. You scroll down, weak words. What were the weak words that I had when delivering this speech? I had 9 so's, 1 absolutely, 1 really, 1 just. The conciseness, 17% success. And it gives you, the beauty of this is that it not only tells you the number of, for example, the weak words, but it points out to the exact place where you used these words. So you can be able to replace the weak words with something that is stronger, all right? And you can see the body language changes as I go down when looking at the analytics. Sentence starter, 14% of my sentences started with so. That is terrible. So is such a weak word. To have so, 9 so's and you're Toastmaster, it's despicable. But no human being will be there to tell you. It will be this lovely tool that really gives you a nice analysis of your speech to the T. At what minute did you use the so? 2 minutes, 17 seconds. And with that, you're able to practice over and over again until your speech is fantastic, phenomenal, delightful, however you want to describe it. But this is the fun part. It goes beyond the seriousness of the presentation, the practicing of the table topics, to something quite phenomenal that I think our table topics master in future should actually use this. And this one will do it practically. I can't do this by myself. I did it by myself, so I think it's time we engage, you get to have fun as well. And we'll start with the metaphor mania. This is a fun activity where you are supposed to build analogies without letting pressure affect you. And I'll give you an example if you're to start practicing. They'll have two words, two random words put together, and you're supposed to create an analogy of these words within 6 seconds. Can I have a volunteer? Absolutely no one? Yes, Mawia, thank you. A round of applause for Mawia. Mawia, I want you to stand here. Look at the words and read whatever analogy that comes to mind instantly and speak. You only have 6 seconds to the random words. Right? Ready?
Like being thirsty because it needs to constantly be hydrated. Playing a violin is like public speaking because you have to keep fine-tuning the strings. Eating selfish is like an elephant because it's so big to consume, yet so tiny. Having a crush is like a road trip because you have to keep on trying to discover new things about the person. Riding a bike is like plastic because you have to trash it.
It's not easy. Is it? Anyone else would want to give it a shot? Okay. You will try it by yourself so that we don't get to judge your analogy, yes? Your ability to create analogies. But not to worry, we'll give another shot to another game and you see how it works. This is fun. I was doing it by myself and I really had a blast. Spinayan, articulation, structure, and lateral thinking. How to maintain your train of thought with plots, twists along the way. Does anyone want to give this a try? I'll tell you what happens here. Spinayan. You can see the person on the screen was trying to skip a rope, all right? So we'll give you a topic to speak about, but there'll be prompts. So by the moment you're given a topic, there'll be words that are coming on the screen and you're supposed to incorporate these words as you speak. Random words. You can be talking about the president and all of a sudden, accident. Oh, wait, let me not say that. This is Kenya. Yes. Pothole comes up. If you know what I'm talking about, that happened, whatever happened in Meru happened in Meru. Those are the things that you're talking about. Things that just show up randomly, like a pothole on the road. How are you able to connect and still speak at the spur of the moment? For this one, I'll give El Shiba, come give this a shot. You're a seasoned Toastmaster. Come on, give El Shiba a round of applause. And you score a point for every word.
The celebrity that I would plan my surprise birthday party for would be Denzel Washington, because he cuts those scenes like scissors and he's so great at acting and he has definitely been selected for very many awards. And this is the when you hear him speak and you see him act, then I'm really spending too much time talking about Denzel. And then I would go on a fishing with a fishing rod for this birthday party. And he would definitely be wearing pants, and so would I. And then we would break those walls of communication because we'd start with icebreakers and we'd bring furniture that's comfortable for the picnic by the pond. And we would do all this at dinner time and eat the fish that we fished with the fishing rod. And we'd have pickles because what's a fish without pickle? We have to have pickles. And then
It's not easy, is it? But it's so fun, isn't it? So I would urge you, if you want to practice how to speak quickly on your feet, try these games. The other one, which is quite lengthy and we're not going to engage in, is the storyteller. The storyteller part is you're given a topic and you are sharing a story for 1 minute, and then the AI tool comes up with its own story and you keep on doing it 5 times until you have a whole story and it gives you feedback on that. The no filler is quite interesting because it basically shares how many pause fillers you had since you spoke. Are you able to speak without the ahs, the ums, and the ahs? That's what the no filler is all about. And with that, that is Udly. To sum it up, an AI speech tool that each of us should take up, apply, practice our speeches with. If you were in a contest, this is the best tool to practice your table topic speech with, to practice that international speech, the humorous, and the evaluations. How many of you will take up the challenge and start using Udly? It is free of charge, and we like free things. Back to you, Toastmaster of the day.
All right, we're back. I think Toastmaster Candy definitely deserves another warm round of applause. Toastmaster Candy, thank you for that excellently delivered tip session. You have definitely sold Udly effectively to us. I can't wait to go and try it. You really simplified it. And I think none of us want to be left behind, right? AI-powered tools are the present and the future. They're so pervasive. They can be intimidating to keep up with, especially for some of us born before the internet. It's all a struggle, but a worthy struggle because they give us an edge moving forward. We can't survive without them. So we'll shortly get into the table topic session, but before we do that, I want to share the second superpower I had in mind to share with you. And I believe all humans are gifted with the superpower, albeit to different degrees. And this will always be my favorite. And I'm referring to the superpower of humor. I must confess, this is my regularly go-to superpower. I have found myself cracking up in the face of unexpected, very upsetting situations. And I have also observed that the moment I laugh, I distract myself. And that situation completely loses its power over me. And what happens is a spiral of optimism, and not always do things turn out to be the way we want, but at least we can find an outcome that we can live with, right? Once we have laughed about the situation. And I believe appropriate and well-timed humor is a gift that can dispel the heaviest of burdens. It can be one of our most effective secret weapons in the face of adversity. It allows us to find joy in the simplest of moments. And when we give humor a chance, we're better equipped to navigate the complexities of life with grace and levity. How many of us can relate to this? Come on. Yes. I didn't expect any less enthusiasm about sense of humor. With that, I would like to invite Toastmaster Sarah Wanjiku to lead our table topic session. For Toastmaster Sarah, emotional intelligence is the most underrated superpower that humans have, as it is key to achieve balance in all aspects of our lives. Toastmaster Sarah, I believe, is joining us online. Can you hear us?
Good evening, Toastmaster of the day and fellow Toastmasters. Yes, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes, can everybody hear Toastmaster Sarah? Yes, we can hear you very well. You're most welcome.
Thank you so much. Good evening, Toastmasters and invited guests. My role this evening as table topics master will be to test on your impromptu speech skills. This will help you in areas where, for example, you've been asked to pray in a function because you look so good and you probably don't know what to say. This is where we train all that. Maybe you've met your crush and you don't know how to express yourself. Impromptu speaking comes in this. And to start us off, I'm going to ask one of our seasoned Toastmasters to give us an example of how this works. Guests, you're not safe. I may ambush you along the way, but enjoy, have fun. Also, You don't really have to tell the truth on this one. You can put a bit of spice here and there. Our first speaker, I request Toastmaster Elishiba Msengeti. Elishiba, don't ask how I know you're in the room. Maybe it's my superpower. Toastmaster Elishiba. I see you running. Thank you. Toastmaster Elishiba, would you rather have super strength or super endurance as a power?
Would I rather have super strength or super endurance? I would definitely rather have super endurance, because that in itself is a super strength. I have learned in my short life that life has a way of throwing curveballs at you. And the one thing that can enable us to keep going is the ability to get up every time we fall. The other thing I've also learned is that you may think you're very strong and think until you're hit by something, which could be a disappointment, it could be a breakup, it could be the loss of something that you held so dear, that you think this for sure will be the thing that kills me, and yet it doesn't. Why? Because we have the strength of endurance. And so if anybody were to ask me, such as you have, Table Topics Master, if I would rather have endurance or strength, I would definitely pick the superpower of endurance, because with that, I'll be forever strong.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Elishiba. See, guests, it's not hard. It's not hard. All you need to do is make sure that your speech is not below 1 minute and not above 2 minutes and 30 seconds. Now, going next question, I'm going to go for a man, a guest in the room, Toastmaster Eric Obwako. Online guests, still on you. I have a list. Toastmaster Eric, are you with us? Hi, Eric.
Hi, how are you?
Are you a Toastmaster, a visiting Toastmaster, or a guest?
Not a Toastmaster. I will become soon. So it's a good prediction.
Very good. This is your motivation to become one. Wait and see how good you're going to do it. So to Eric, upcoming Toastmaster, would you rather have unlimited time or unlimited money? Would you rather have unlimited time or unlimited money?
Thank you. I'll definitely need unlimited time because I have so much to do. And the time that has been allocated to me by God is so short that I find I go short of the things I'm supposed to do. So if at all I can be granted more time, and in terms of even my life in this world, I'll be able to achieve so much that I've planned to do. So I need more time to do the things that I've not been able to do for the last 40 years I've been on this earth. Thank you so much.
Thank you, guest Eric, so much for attempting that question and sharing that with us. Thank you very much. To our online attendees, I see Toastmaster Joyce Kaduki is with us. Toastmaster Joyce, are you able to unmute and attempt our table topics question?
Madam Table Topics Master, yes, I will attempt.
Thank you, Toastmaster Joyce. Toastmaster Joyce, would you rather have the ability to predict the future or the ability to change the past? Which one would you prefer and why?
If given a choice to predict the future or to change the past, hands down, I would go with the ability to change the past. Why would I say that? Because I have absolutely no interest in taking the unpredictability out of the future. For what is life without the surprises that come with it? And if I knew how to change the future or to make it predictable, then there would be nothing exciting or unusual to look forward to, because I would know what is coming, and that would definitely spoil the fun of waiting, the fun of not knowing what next, the nail-biting moments when I don't know what's going to come up the corner or out the corner. And so if given a chance to change the past, I would definitely go with changing the past. Because again, in changing the past, those mistakes that I made, this would be my chance, especially in this age of the internet and social media, where so much of your past can be dug up and broadcasted to the world. This would be my chance to delete all that, so that, Madam Table Topics Master, should you or anyone else want to hold up a past that I would be ashamed of, there would be no proof about that. And so once again, if I had a chance to either remove the unpredictability from the future or to change the past, I would hands down go for the power to change the past and leave the future to unfold with its surprises, the twists and turns, and the unpredictability that is the spice of life. Back to you, Madam Table Topics Master.
Thank you, Toastmaster Joyce, for that amazing impromptu speech. Madam Timer, do we have time for one more, or is my time up? Timer? Sorry?
Have 2 minutes.
I have?
2 minutes.
2 minutes, 2 minutes. Let's attempt one more. I go for a guest online. I hope it's a guest or a visiting Toastmaster. Brian Joroge online. I want to be as fair as possible. Brian Joroge, are you able to unmute and attempt a table topics question? Brian? As Brian prepares, Andrew Opere. Andrew, are you able to unmute and attempt a question kindly?
Why not?
Thank you, Andrew. So, are you a Toastmaster or a guest?
I'm a guest.
Awesome. Guests are doing it today. So, Andrew, would you restart your life and start from the beginning, or continue creating the life you already have? Which one would you prefer?
Wow, that's a very powerful question, because each path brings its own perspective, brings its own power, brings its own opportunities. Yeah, if I was to go back to the beginning, I wonder if there's a caveat of retaining the knowledge I have now, then that would be very beneficial, because starting life as a child with all of this knowledge about life, I would be able to take advantage and make different decisions. But then also, on the other hand, right now with the knowledge I have, I really have no excuse to influence my direction now. So if I was to compare each option, I think I would go with the latter option, because right now I really do not have any excuse, because I have the strength, I have the mature logic of leveraging my relationships with those around me, and even my own mind and my mouth. So I'll definitely settle with continuing with now on with the knowledge I have and making the best of what I've got. Thank you very much.
Wow. Thank you, Andrew. Very wise. Thank you so much. Let's applaud our table topics speakers who did very amazing, very smart people right there. If their wishes, if someone came and they gave wishes, they were ready with their answers. So to recap who our speakers were, our first speaker was Elishiba Msengeti. Second speaker was Eric Ubwako. That speaker was Joyce Kiduki, and our fourth speaker was Brian Opere. Over to you, Toastmaster of the day.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Sarah, for that very enjoyable, adrenaline-inducing, at the same time thought-provoking session. We really enjoyed it. I always enjoy table topic session when I have a role. I can kick my feet and just sit back with the confidence that I will not be called. Those are the type of table topics I enjoy. But this is, I believe, table topic session is the most rewarding of all sessions. That's when we really get to challenge ourselves to improve our speaking skills. So thank you for that, Toastmaster Sarah. We will now vote for the best table topic speakers. You've heard whom they are. We had Toastmaster Elishiba, Toastmaster Eric, Toastmaster Joyce, and Andrew, who's a guest online. So you can pick the appropriate part of the form, which is the bottom part, and proceed to vote for your favorite table topic speakers. I believe the online audience is also set and they can proceed with the voting. As we do that, we will quickly shift gears and transition to the last session, the evaluation session. We're slightly facing setback with time. We don't want to keep you too long, so we'll pick up speed now. And I will, without further ado, I will invite our first evaluator, who DTM Jafet Musa, will be evaluating our first speaker, TM Vivian Ayuma. I had a conversation with DTM Jafet on our evenings team, and for him, the most underrated superpower is the power of communication. He says nothing can happen without it. No transaction, no sale, and most importantly, no marriage. To that, I said, amen. DTM Jafet, please, you're welcome.
Thank you, Madam Toastmaster. The purpose of Vivian's speech was to learn and review basic methods of writing a speech with a defined purpose. If you believe Vivian's speech met the criteria in that the stated purpose of our speech is how to keep hope alive, please raise your hand. Look at the room. The jury has spoken. Well done. What I liked about your speech, which is also the reason why they all agree, is because you made the message universal. You took us from that moment in the delivery room, and then you led us into situations in our own lives. You say it could have been a cancer diagnosis. It could have been loss of a loved one. With that, you drew us in and we could relate to what you're telling us. You also used a personal story, which is wonderful. Stories are the currency of human contact. They connect the speaker to the audience and the audience to the speech that the speaker is delivering. And by using a personal story, you allowed yourself to be vulnerable. Well done for sharing us that moment in your life. I also like the fact that you reduced your message to 3 points, the power of 3. You told us when you're faced with this situation where you're likely to panic, do 3 things. Number 1, don't panic. Number 2, focus on only what you can change. And number 3, pray. It's easy to remember these 3 points. What can you do to work on your speech to make it better? Relax. I noticed that when you came here, you stood, you took time, you took a breath. That was very good. When you started speaking, your hands oscillated around here. Just let them be free, and that will make you relax a little bit more. I'd like to see more expression of emotions. That speech had a lot of opportunity for you to take us through a roller coaster of emotions. How do you do that? Use of your vocal variety, your facial expressions, your gestures, and your stance. If you can use this, what I call vocal and visual variety, then you'll up the emotions and you can take us through that roller coaster. To challenge yourself, keep speaking, because like the founder of Toastmasters said, we learn speaking by speaking. Give more speeches and practice visual and vocal variety. Thank you for teaching us and leaving us with a universal message, which is captured with the statement by Nelson Mandela that you gave us. Hope is keeping focus on the light in spite of the darkness. Well done.
Thank you, DTM Japhet, for that thoughtful and encouraging feedback to our first speaker. Our second evaluator is Toastmaster Moea Gichuhi, who will be evaluating our second speaker, Toastmaster Samuel Njoroge. You're most welcome. Yes.
Energize myself. Samuel, no one style fits all. This was such a lovely speech that you delivered today. Congratulations on improving on your delivery. What did I like about your speech? I like that you had good enough gestures. The powers of gestures is that they enable one to emphasize a point as they move through their speeches, and they engage the audience even as they deliver their speeches. Rather than having your hands locked in, you're able to engage, welcome the audience in as you deliver your speech. The second thing that I loved about your speech is that you gave us 3 different leadership styles. That was autocratic, democratic, and delegating. And in taking us through the different leadership styles that were there, you are able to give practical examples that the audience could relate with. That is like Ronald Reagan, Google. And with these examples, we could be able to see these leadership styles in our minds. Sometimes giving the theory of what the leadership style is can become a bit too much for the audience to consume. But when we give practical examples, the audience then is able to assimilate those, the topic that you're sharing, and be able to internalize the speech. So thank you so much for using examples. Just as the evaluator who was before me said, stories. Instead of stories, because your speech was a bit technical, you are able to give practical examples. And you did so well in that aspect. What can you improve on? You had 3 leadership styles that you emphasized on. And the timer told me that you used 6 minutes and 55 seconds. That means you overemphasized and explained the leadership style, but in the process of doing that, you ended up rushing at your conclusion, thus not having enough time to give a punch when you are required to do so at the end, because most people remember either the beginning of a speech or the end of a speech. So they really forget what was in the middle. So if you rush through the conclusion of the speech, they aren't able to remember what did Samuel say about his speech. So next time, as you are preparing your speech, shorten your, level out the introduction, the middle part of your speech, and the conclusion to give enough time for the audience to have a great takeaway home. Your second area of improvement is raise the platform, which also here at the club we need to do. When you're giving an online presentation and you have to keep on looking down, it has a condescending message that you are looking down upon your audience. I will encourage you to lift your laptop so that you are eye-to-eye contact with your audience. Also, you are leaning a lot on the back of the wall rather than having the freedom to move your body. So the wall became a crutch rather than a background pillar. Also, what will I say, when you are delivering your speech next time, avoid spaces that have a sign. I kept on looking at the Silking Village, I presume that is where you work, or that is just a signage in your home. So it was distracting. You need either a clear background, which prevents the people being distracted, because the eye has a ability to move to something distracting. Overall, we were able to learn your leadership style, and that is you prefer the autocratic and democratic leadership style. Thus, you are able to meet the objective of your speech. And I want to commend you for improving on your lighting. That was something we had discussed last time, and you did a really great job. Your sound was terrific, and keep on delivering your speeches, even though you are far, far away in Congo. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Toastmaster Mawia, for that very lucid, comprehensive, generous feedback. I thought what Toastmaster Mawia told me backstage was one of the most thoughtful responses related to the evening's theme. Toastmaster Mawia told me the superpower she'd like to have is the ability to make everyone in every room that she's in feel important, seen, heard, and loved. That was very touching. We need to give her another round of applause. Yeah. So please give me again. I think we applause a lot in Toastmasters, and I think it's in order, right? So I think another round of applause for both evaluators. And with that, we quickly transition to the last round of voting, which is for the best evaluator. Again, we go back to the same form and pick the appropriate portion to cast our ballot. And as we do that, I invite us to again shift gears to hear reports from our role takers. I will really request that they be concise because of the time constraints, and I need to run. I'll start by inviting our HARC Master of the Evening, Toastmaster Stephen Musila, who has been able to join us now. Please share with us your report. Thank you.
Good evening. I believe the role was well introduced, so I'll be proceeding to ask a few questions in relation to what you've had throughout the meeting. I'll start with the Toastmaster, then we'll progress to the guest. I'll also be able to pick a few members from online. The first question is, what was the speech title for the first speaker? Fidel. There. Sorry. Stay hopeful. Okay. The second, from the first speaker, what measures do you take when you are faced with circumstances that challenge your hope? Go to Team Ibrahim. Are you there? You left. Joy, Christine. Lydia. Okay, back to the room. Aden Joseph. Sure. What measures do you take when you are faced with circumstances that challenge your hope? Three, from the first speaker. Yes.
Okay, another trio. Well, I do not bring sweets, but I make sure that next time I bring. Anybody wants to try?
I can try.
Yeah. Go ahead.
No panic. Focus on what you can control and focus on the power beyond us.
Thank you. The other question is types of leadership styles from the second speaker. Faith. The last one, someone can try? Yeah, delegating, thank you. What are some of the examples that the second speaker used when he was explaining autocratic leadership style? Mercy? Thank you. The second one was Henry Ford. Thank you. Never go.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Mr. Hartmaster, Toastmaster Stephen. You know, I was around in Nairobi for about 4 weeks. I think I have visited at least 5 different Toastmasters clubs, and I've made note of things that I feel I can take back to my club, Blue Nile. And I think the role of the Hartmaster definitely is it. I haven't had it orchestrated in meetings before, even in Nairobi, but I think it will keep us on our toes, right? You can't doze or rest your eyes in meetings if there's a Hartmaster. Wonderful. Thank you so much for that. I will now invite our grammarian, Toastmaster Michael and Jerry. I apologize for that. Toastmaster and Jerry, please share with us the grammarian report.
Thank you, Madam TMOD. We had fantastic use of the language tonight. There was a lot of vocabulary that was used today in the different speeches that were given. For instance, there was the following words. So there was insatiable, excruciating, rambunctious, phenomenal, delightful. And there were good uses of, there was good use of different phrases. For instance, there was lend a listening ear. I was at my wit's end. There's also fueled curiosity. And for the word of the day, ostentatious. A number of people used it. So Fidel used it once, Pascalia once, Vivian once, Samuel once, and Tigis used it thrice. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster and Jerry, for that report. We will now hear from our counter, with Toastmaster Michael, standing in for Yahya Ibrahim. You're most welcome.
So thank you. The R counter report, the Toastmaster of the day used 5R, 6 3 and, 2 so, Vivian Ayuma, voted for myself. You had one long pause. Samuel Joroge used two so, and one Hackmaster Candy used table topics. Elishiba, you had two B, and Joyce Kaduki had one so. Andrew two so. Maria had two and one We had Stephen Musila, two three Faith, one and finally our grammarian had two R's, and yeah, thank you.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Michael. Clearly, I've broke a certain record in this meeting. I'll have to have those notes to go and work on my iller words and sound. Thank you so much for that very thorough report. I will now invite our timer, Toastmaster Susan Mutile, for the timer's report. You're welcome.
In a time, I'll be very quick. We are 20 minutes or behind time. So I'll just give the timing that was taken by the prepared speakers, speeches for the prepared speeches. So Vivian Ayumba took 6 minutes, 15 seconds within time. Samuel Joroge took 6 minutes, 55 seconds within time. Tip session by Kendi Mwambile was 14 minutes, 18 seconds. She had 15 minutes. Evaluators, Jafet Musau took 3 minutes, 3 seconds. Mawia Gishui took 4 minutes, 12 seconds beyond time. Hackmaster, which was beyond time. Hackmaster, oh, sorry. El Shiba took 1 minute, 10 seconds. Eric took 34 seconds. Joyce Kaduki took 2 minutes, 16 seconds. And Andrew took 1 minute, 30 seconds. Thank you, and over to you, Toastmaster.
Thank you, Toastmaster Susan, for the thorough timers report. And now I finally invite our general evaluator, who will now give us a comprehensive report about the conduct of the meeting. Toastmaster Joy Murugi will be joining us online. We had a bit of a sound problem earlier, and we're hoping we have been able to remedy that. Can we taste the sound? Can you speak to us before you start the report?
Madam Toastmaster, please confirm you can hear me.
Excellent. We can hear you very well. I believe everyone.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Madam Toastmaster. I would like to say that this was an ostentatious meeting. However, it was not. It was a very well run meeting, and I will put up a few pointers in terms of things that we did really well. The president welcomed the people into the meeting. The room did seem that it was set up on time for the session, and guests were actually very informed about the Toastmasters meeting format. From a meeting opening perspective, the presiding officer was actually prepared and very organized. The only challenge that I could highlight here is we did not start the meeting on time due to probable technical issues. We also had a very good introduction of people. So we did see the Toastmaster of the day effectively also adapting to the role takers changing in the last minute. So I assume it's due to weather changes and a few other things that lent to the fact that some role takers could not arrive on time or arrive at the session. So that adaptation, as the Toastmaster the day called it a dance, was very smoothly transitioned. So I want to commend the Toastmaster of the day on the same. I would also like to commend the Toastmaster of the day for explaining the theme of the meeting very well. And we do see a good number of role takers. For example, the Table Topics Master did carry along that theme in how they conversed with the audience during their session. And therefore, that means that we were actually able to carry on that theme throughout the session. From an evaluation of how some of the roles were conducted, I'll start with the grammarian. So the grammarian was very well introduced, and the grammarian did take their role within the allotted time. So that is a great thing that most role takers, including the grammarian, the table topics master, were within the time allocated by and large. The word of the day was not very much used, and I suspect due to the fact that it was probably a slightly difficult word, and therefore it might not have necessarily fitted the theme of the meeting. So that can be something to just point out for the future. I do know the original grammarian is not in the session. However, just as a pointer to anyone who takes on the grammarian role, you want to strike a balance between building people's vocabulary and also giving them a word that they can plug into the session and into the meeting, so that it's actually a lot more used. In terms of the accounter, we do see that they were prepared and they did introduce their role within the allotted time, which was also something that I would really like to commend. Just going back to the role of the topics master, the table topics master, we do see that they did select appropriate topics that were within line of the theme that we were having on superpower. And that was actually a great thing. And we did see people actually responding to the same prompts due to that. Two more things I'd really like to call out is that there was great audience participation today. Everyone who was called upon any role from the, especially the impromptu speeches, was able to stand up and speak very correctly. I would also like to commend the Toastmaster of the day for picking up when there were glitches and sound issues. And finally, for the evaluators, I do feel that they were very well prepared and they did take a lot of time in terms of looking at the quality of feedback that they were giving the prepared speech givers. And this means that the people who gave the speech are able to use that feedback to improve their speaking and their public speaking journey as they continue going forward. Lastly, would also like to commend the prepared speeches. The prepared speeches did look and seem that they were very well prepared. Great to see that within the balance of an in-person speech delivery and an online speech delivery, there was good sound on both ends. So as a person attending the meeting online and receiving speeches from people who, from Vivian, who was in the room, as well as Samuel, who was in the room, the speeches were actually delivered and the sound quality was great. Maria had also mentioned that the lighting was great for the online meeting. And therefore, this means that people participating virtually and people participating in the room get to experience the beauty of what is usually prepared speeches. Lastly, would like to also commend the president in terms of her enthusiasm in how she welcomes people into the meeting and just prepared us for the session. So having said that, I would like to hand over back the meeting to the Toastmaster.
Thank you so much, right, for your keen observation and very detailed constructive feedback. We're almost at the end of our meeting, and looking at the time, I know I have to swiftly hand over to the president in a minute or so, but I still have the third superpower to share with you, and I'll do that within seconds because it's worthy of mention, and it is the superpower of resilience. God knows we all need it, right? I won't say anymore. I'll just invite you to reflect on that as you drive back home. But resilience is our capacity to bounce back, to deal with setbacks and forge through, which is very much needed. And I believe all of us relate to this. So as I conclude, my parting thoughts on the subject of superpowers would be: discover, embrace and cultivate your superpowers, as they are probably the most important arsenals or resources that you can bring to this thrilling but often challenging journey of life. On that note, I'd like to say it's been a wonderful honor to serve as your Toastmaster of the evening, and I really look forward to visiting Kwanza, Kenya, Toastmasters Club again and engaging with you. Thank you, everyone. And Madam President, I yield the floor back to you. Thank you.
I'm sure we can do better than that, especially for somebody. Thank you very much, Toastmaster of the Day. As you go back, take our big and huge salamus to the people in Ethiopia. Tell them, Kwanza Kenya, and not Kenya Kwanza, has told them, we are glad that you are our Toastmaster of the Day. Ladies and gentlemen, fellow Toastmasters and guests, both online and in physical attendance, bear us a bit of your, I would like to beg your indulgence for about 5 extra minutes as we wind up. And I'd like to invite the Sergeant at Arms to give us the best speakers of the day. Let's give him a clap as he comes to the floor. Oh. Thank you very much to all our better speakers, not better speakers, because we are all best speakers in whichever that we take part in. As we come close to winding up, I'd once again like to acknowledge the presence of our distinguished district director and immediate past president, DTM Japhet Musau. Let's give him a round of applause, please. To our guest, the district director simply means he is the CEO of 7 countries in East Africa. And for him to have found time to come and be with us, we really want to acknowledge you for that, applaud you for that. Thank you. We also want to acknowledge all our visiting guests, both online and in person. In person, Eric Obwaka, Govet Okot, Kamau Kiminju, Aiden Joseph, James Molwa, and Faith Ego. Thank you so much for joining us. Those joining us online, Andrew Opere, Brian Joroge, Abigail Wanyika, Anne Karaoke, Lydia, Maureen, and Elizabeth. Thank you so much for joining us today. And just as we wind up, I'd like to get one person from the online and one person from the physical meeting. Just let us know, one word, what is your take on the meeting that we had today? And anyone can start. Physical? Come on. What is your take on our meeting today? Let's give him a round of applause.
Thank you, Madam President. Toastmasters and invited guests, good evening. It's very hard to summarize this in one word, President. but I can say a lot of English. Thank you.
A lot of energy, and I believe you all agree with that. Online, Abigail Wanyika, one word only. What was your take on this meeting today? Abigail? Yes, you are there.
Yeah. Good evening, Madam President, and all the members and the guests. One word for today is outstanding. Outstanding.
Outstanding, excellent. Indeed, it was an outstanding and a very ostentatious meeting. And we also want to appreciate Elisheba Msengeti from SEMA and also Sarah Wanjiko from Speaking Women Staff in Mombasa. As we bring this meeting to a close, I'd also like to recognize, in 2 minutes, I'd like to recognize 3 key people that were involved in, that were involved in a contest that we had 2 weeks ago. And these are, I'd like to acknowledge Edwin Kaduki, who took part in the humorous and international speech contest, and he emerged in the 2nd place. Let's give him a round of applause. We'd also like to appreciate our treasurer, Ian Buki, who took part in the humorous contest and he emerged in the 3rd position. A round of applause for him. And lastly, let's give a round of applause to Madam Pascalia Maingi, who took part in the table topic contest, and she emerged the 1st one, and she will be representing the area 10 in the next contest. Also appreciating Samuel Njoroge for having finalized his level 1 project in innovative planning. A round of applause, please. Lastly, we are coming to the end of our meeting today, but there's one thing that I cannot afford not to mention. We all know about TCON, at least for the Toastmasters. TCON simply means the Toastmasters East African Conference. This is an annual conference that takes part in any of the 6 East African countries. This year, it will be taking place in Mombasa, Mombasa Raha at the Pride Inn Paradise Hotel between the 9th and the 9th and 11th of May in Mombasa. We are welcoming each and every one of us to attend that very ostentatious conference. And for us to be able to set the mood and to launch us into that mood, we'll be having tomorrow between 6:30 and 7:30 in the AM. Please wake up early tomorrow. We shall be having a TCAS podcast where I, Pascalia Maingi, as your president, I will be hosting a team of very savvy and very seasoned Toastmasters as they share their inspiring tales on how Toastmasters has helped them to grow and given them exponential opportunities, not only in Toastmasters, but also in the marketplace. You cannot afford to miss this. We will be, because you need to find out outside of Toastmasters, how can the skills that you gain help you outside there? So I will welcome you. Please, please come so that you can find out how does your attendance in the TCON conference help you to grow and become a public, a marketplace leader. So you can't afford to miss this. Tomorrow, 6:30 in the AM to 7:30 in the AM. For any of us who would be interested, kindly reach out to any of us and we'll give you the link to that meeting tomorrow. And with that, we're coming to the end of our meeting today. I'd like to say what our Toastmaster of the day said. Discover, embrace, and cultivate your superpower. It lies there within you. Go out there and take advantage of that. And with that, to adjourn the meeting number 972. Have yourselves a good night.